So it's time for some juicy Xbox Activision deal news, as it looks like FTC judge ordered Sony to mostly comply with Microsoft's subpoena, meaning that Sony will have to provide a ton of documents revealing their dealings with PlayStation exclusives. Sony is not really happy about that, that's for sure. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this information is courtesy of tweaktown.com, and as always you will find the link in the description of this video below to that article. So the article talks about FTC case and the whole process of checking the Xbox Activision deal. And FTC, actually Microsoft asked Sony way back a couple of weeks, months ago, to provide documents revealing a lot of, well, their market secrets, I would say, right? But Sony obviously objected. They are not happy about sharing all that information on, you know, what they're doing, what kind of deals they've got with third party and that kind of stuff. And so the last couple of weeks, I would say, was all about delaying that by Sony. They didn't want to provide the documents, and they were extending, the time in which they would have to provide the documents, etc., etc. And they were complaining about the fact that it would cost them money and that kind of stuff. But it looks like they failed, well, at least partially. Because according to this article, FTC judge orders Sony to mostly comply with Microsoft subpoena. By the way, I love that language. I mean, I've just learned a new word, subpoena, right? So FTC's administrative judge, law judge, has ordered Sony Interactive Entertainment to mostly comply with Microsoft's subpoena for sensitive business documents. FTC administrative law judge D. Michael Chappell orders Sony to mostly comply with Microsoft's subpoena for important documents and data relating to Microsoft Activision merger defense. Microsoft legal counsel is currently building a case that defends the proposed $68.7 billion buyout of Activision Blizzard. Such a case requires a lot of information on the video games industry, and both the FTC and parties, Microsoft and Activision, have subpoenaed, I think that's the proper way to pronounce it, relevant players to attain the info, including non-parties like Valve, Nintendo, Google, and Take-Two Interactive. So that's actually interesting. As a complainant in the case, Sony is also involved in the process and has been subpoenaed by Microsoft. Essentially, Microsoft wants to use Sony's records to help systematically break apart Sony's allegations and debunk the FTC antitrust complaints, while also defending itself against any points that the FTC's complaint counsel may also make in the administrative court hearing in August. There's just one problem. Microsoft is having a hard time attaining the documents from Sony. The complainant Sony argues in part that Microsoft's requests for documents are simply too much and that it would take a lot of time and money to fulfill. Sony says it could cost up to $2 million to provide the records. In fact, Sony has requested 3 extensions in order to gather the documents, which have all been granted by Judge Chappell. Sony then filed a request to quash or cancel some of the Microsoft's requests. Judge Chappell has largely ruled against Sony quash request. Sony is ordered to comply with the majority of Microsoft's subpoena with a few limitations. Some of these denied requests are much more important than others. By the way, this is actually, they also prepared like dates for like final decisions, I guess. So that's European Union 25th. Oh, by the way, in yesterday's video I said that European Commission have up to August 11th to make a final decision. And actually, after I made that video, they changed the date to April 25th. So it's going to be 2 weeks later. But that's like final. They can't do with that anymore, apparently. CMA is going, and this is actually very telling. So CMA will make their final decision literally like a day later. So that just goes to show something that what these European lawyers were talking about, that CMA don't want to cross European Commission. So literally CMA will probably make the same-ish kind of decision on the deal as European Commission for the most part, right? So there's also New Zealand Commission, April 28th. And Federal Trade Commission, that may take longer, but Microsoft did say that they won't be really, they don't care about that deal. I mean, they don't care about that court case because it will take longer anyway, and they would just buy Activision anyway and would argue against any try to block it, any attempt to block it in court, right? So, yeah. Anyway, so Sony asked Judge Chappell to limit the number of custodians or record keepers that would be included in Microsoft subpoena. Chappell denied this request. So, I mean, like, there's actually way more information on what Sony was requested, etc., etc. But, generally speaking, these documents will have quite a lot of interesting stuff in them, obviously, and so we may actually learn some things about these dealings, how Sony conduct their businesses and stuff, right? And but I don't think we will learn everything, because I've seen some excited people on Twitter. Oh, we're going to learn everything about it. No, I think that FTC made it, I don't know how we'll call it, like, secret, I guess. So all the documents will be provided to the judge probably and Microsoft, but I don't think it will be shown in public. So don't expect any, some things will probably leak anyway, because you know how that works, but don't expect too much. But it kind of boggles my mind. I mean, because like, Sony is obviously arguing against it, but like, did they really thought that they could just go to FTC, European Commission, CMA, and all these authorities and cry about that deal, how that deal is bad for gaming market, and Sony and competition, that kind of stuff, without actually providing any documents? I get it. They did go there with some, pie charts and that kind of stuff. But these were like soft documents, right? Like basically presentations with generalized view on the market and from obviously Sony point of view. But we're talking about like a very serious deal where a lot of money is involved. So, I mean, surely they must have expected that the judge or Microsoft would actually request like hard evidence, documents to back up all their claims that whatever they said in these pie charts, right? Because imagine MaDz Gaming going to Brussels and complaining about something without providing any proof. I mean, they would laugh at me. So what did Sony expect? That all these people would be like, oh, it's Sony, it must be true, right? But guys, they're not really dealing with. I understand I understand there's lobbies and lobbying in general, and I understand that. But when you go to court and you actually dealing with judges and everything, I mean, yeah, everything needs to be according to the rule of law. It's not about, my perception on things, right? So that's the big thing. Like FTC, yes, they are trying to block it, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the actual judges that are dealing with this case right now, not politicians. Well, it's not about promising something like politicians do. You either provide me an evidence on whatever you are claiming is happening, or if you don't, like, well, then that case is going to get dismissed. I really don't understand how these bloody corporations work, and I get it. Like, I work for a corporation as well in IT. And there's some things I see that are happening there are just mind blowing as well, because you would not think that that's happening, but it's actually happening. Weird rules and procedures that doesn't really make much sense, but they are there to protect whatever, right? And that's what we're actually seeing right now, and maybe that's why it's actually taking so long. So I shouldn't be really surprised, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, guys, so looks like things are getting interesting right now, because we long past the point of let's talk about this deal. What do you think? How do you feel about this deal, right? We passed that point already. So that's all gone. That was last year. And this year is all about, okay, so you said that you felt, or you know that this is what's going to happen if that deal goes through. So now prove it. So yeah, now it's actually, Microsoft still has to work hard to actually go against all these claims by Sony, but now it's actually Sony's turn to actually prove that what they say is true. And I have a feeling that what they said was not necessarily, I'm not saying that they are lying per se, but I think they might have over exaggerated a couple of things, in my opinion, right? And they might have hidden a number of deals they've done, and because they are complaining about exclusivity of Call of Duty, yet they are money hunting a number of deals, and that particular subpoena is going to require Sony to reveal all the third-party deals starting from 2019 to this year. Microsoft asked for 2012 to now, so they actually shortened it a little bit. But anyway, guys, this information will be provided. Sony has no choice now, and they will have to do it. Microsoft will use that. We'll use these documents against Sony, really. So that's interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But you know what? Like there was a point early this year when CMA came out with their findings. So maybe that was last year, late last year. I don't remember. There was a point where I was like, is that deal really going to go through? But now, like after the European hearing and after a couple of other unions, or that game developer federation they both came out, and they were positive about the deal, and now after the hearings, and now after all stuff that is actually going on right now, looks like European Commission is willing to accept some remedies here and there. So I'm actually positive about this deal going through right now, like more positive than I was, like I would say a month and a half, if you know what I mean. So anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for support. I really appreciate all support. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.